Oh, he just wrote all of our names, didn't he?
How can you know that?
To Nelson, Murdoch, and Page.
Welcome back, everyone. Good news. Marvel finally did the thing. They finally listened to everyone and just made some huge, really good changes to Daredevil Born Again. After the shellacking they've been taking the last year, they needed a big win, and it looks like they finally chose the path of sanity with the new Daredevil show. So we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, of course I'll do episode videos for it when it does release. Vincent D'Onofrio was just doing Kingpin press for the Echo series. He said they were about to start filming Daredevil Born Again episodes again.
Kingpin is back for sure, and he's going to get what he wants like always. That's what's going to happen.
When he says Kingpin is going to get what he wants, he's talking about Kingpin becoming mayor of New York City. I'll get into that later in the video because that's more about the Echo post-credit scene in how they're setting up Daredevil Born Again inside the MCU. But the amazing news you probably just saw in your feeds recently is that Marvel completely changed some fundamental parts of Daredevil Born Again last year. Kevin Feige saw the episodes they'd been filming, pulled the plug. Took us a while to find out what could have been so bad about the situation with the show that he would fire the former Daredevil Born Again writers in a showrunner and hired the writers from Punisher Netflix and the Loki series to completely rework the show from the ground up. But Baskin-Robbins always finds out, and now Foggy Nelson and Karen Page are coming back to the show alive, maybe with a few extra city miles on them because the new show picks up after the 5-year time jump and after a few years of everyone in the MCU being blipped back. We're talking like the year 2026 inside the MCU. There are apparently some pretty big reasons why Kevin Feige put the kibosh on the original version of Daredevil Born Again last year. Some story-based reasons and some practical reasons more to do with how Marvel is actually physically making and releasing new TV shows on Disney+. Like everything about the way they do TV shows just changed, but the thing is that the shows that get the benefit of all those good changes start with Daredevil Born Again, so you won't really see those changes until Daredevil Born Again starts next year. Really good example of that is Echo. Like, Echo was made on their old system of the way they made TV shows in the past. Like, it didn't get the benefit of all the changes they made last year. But apparently in the original version of Daredevil Born Again, they were going to start the show in episode 1 with Foggy Nelson and Karen Page being dead, having been killed prior to the events of the show. They'd already revealed both Daredevil and Kingpin did not get snapped. That was a big plot point during Echo. I think part of the idea is that originally both Karen and Foggy did get snapped by Thanos during Avengers Infinity War. Matt tries to pick up the pieces and make it through the 5-year time jump without them, continuing to be Daredevil, taking out criminals, cleaning up New York City, still a little less stabby than Hawkeye when he was in full Ronin mode, but similar vibes, like doing similar things during the 5-year time jump. Kingpin uses the chaos going on around the world during that 5-year time jump to seize all of his power back that he lost when he was arrested during Daredevil Season 3 and becomes more powerful than ever inside the city during that 5-year time jump. I just talked about it in my big Echo video, but during the Echo series, they revealed in a flashback when they were in the middle of the 5-year time jump, the New York City cops were so terrified of him, they basically let him do whatever he wanted.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to step back.
Do you know who that is?
Like, he straight up walked through the police and just yoinked Echo from them like, no, you're not arresting her, I'm taking her right now. And they just let him do that. That's how powerful he was meant to be during the 5-year time jump. And remember, a lot of time has gone by since then. So apparently when he got arrested at the end of Daredevil Season 3, he did not stay in prison that long, and he didn't really lose that much of his power base, or it didn't take him long to rebuild it. Then when Avengers Endgame happens, the Hulk snaps everyone back. Foggy and Karen would have also come back too. But apparently something was supposed to happen to them, like they get killed by Kingpin somehow as retaliation for the events of Daredevil Season 3, because Kingpin had to wait for them to get snapped back to kill them to actually hurt Matt. Like, killing Foggy and Karen was worse than killing Matt himself, because now he has to live with the knowledge that he couldn't protect his best friends, and it was supposed to haunt him through the events of the original version of Daredevil Born Again before Kevin Feige canceled and had them rework everything. The brand new showrunner from Punisher Netflix and the Loki writers apparently completely did a brand new version of episode 1, like ground up, totally different. They took about 6 episodes worth of footage that they'd already shot on Daredevil Born Again, completely reworked that, like shot a bunch of extra footage to fit in and change things that happened during those episodes, then shot 2 more brand new episodes that were completely different from what the original plan was, so there'll still be 9 episodes in the first half of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. But apparently in the original version, like the version that they canceled, Matt was not going to wear the new Daredevil suit or any Daredevil suit until episode 4. He was going to have his own Tobey Maguire Spider-Man No More kind of moment like Spider-Man 2, where he throws away the old Daredevil suit, like chucks it in the trash. Then by episode 4, he's finally inspired to put it back on again. It sounds like originally their plan was to kill off Foggy and Karen mostly just to create more drama and conflict at the beginning of the season, like give Daredevil more of a reason to hate Kingpin if that were even necessary, or hate other villains during the season if it was going to be another villain killing them. However that went down, Kevin Feige was just totally not cool with it, was like, no, quality control, boom, stop, right now, we're going to completely redo all this stuff. Apparently, it was actually the strikes that basically forced everybody in Hollywood to go on break for a large portion of last year. During that, Kevin Feige watched the episodes that they'd already been filming on Daredevil Born Again, and that's when he decided to cancel everything and completely rework the show. It almost makes it sound like he hadn't actually been watching the episodes they've been filming, like the dailies, up until the strike actually happened. Like, normally you'd expect him to be spending way more time on the series while they were actually making it. I've already done a couple videos about this in the past, like it's part of the bigger changes at Marvel where they basically pulled way back on their output, like they slowed everything down, delayed a lot of the movies that are happening in 2024 to 2025 so that they had more time for quality control. One of the reasons they did that, one of the biggest problems they had, is that at Disney, the powers that be were basically forcing them to release a ton of TV shows and a ton of movies every year. Like, what if every TV show could be a Marvel TV show? Obviously, the answer is no. Kevin Feige only has so many hours in the day that he can actually do quality control, and it turns out he is the secret sauce that actually makes a lot of the stuff that they do really good. So if you wonder why Secret Invasion, for instance, was so chaotic, like so all over the place, like there were a couple good moments, it seems like they had the bones of a good show in there, but it just did not work out, like the execution was terrible on that show. A lot of the reason for that is because Kevin Feige didn't have the time to actually pay attention to what they were doing while they were actually filming it. He had to delegate a lot of that to other people that just weren't able to do what he normally does. Thankfully, all that's changed, and they've completely changed the way that they actually make the shows and release them now. Now it's way easier for them to do this kind of quality control. They've also structurally changed the way that they release the shows, so now it actually works a little bit more like actual television and not just like one long movie that they chop up into like 6 different pieces. That's basically meant to solve a lot of the pacing issues that they've had on most of their shows. Like one of the bigger complaints about Echo is its pacing issues. I just did a video for the Echo post-credit scene. It's meant to be a Daredevil Born Again teaser directly setting up the series, so I'll link it at the end of this. Basically, Kingpin getting the idea to run for mayor of New York City. Supposedly in the new version of the show, he might start the show already being mayor. But Foggy and Karen are back and alive. John Bernthal's Punisher was meant to be a core main character in the original version of the show. Season 1 is supposed to be 18 episodes, just divided into 2 different parts, so he might just be a main character in one of the arcs, but not both of them. Some of the other Marvel Netflix Defenders characters might show up in other story arcs. Maybe not the first arc, but like other arcs in the future. They literally just canonized all the Marvel Netflix shows to the MCU. I've already done a couple big videos about that too, so I'll link them down in the description. Really happy that they finally acknowledged all that stuff. The brand new main villain outside of Kingpin himself is supposed to be Muse from the Daredevil comics. He has special powers, but he's not a mutant in the comics. They could change that on the TV show, or they could just change the way his powers work so that they seem a little bit more on the level of Daredevil's sensory powers. Like Daredevil got into an accident that gave him abilities, sensory-based abilities, so he's more of a mutate, not an actual mutant. In order to be called a traditional mutant, you actually have to be born with your powers with the X gene. Muse's ability lets him become almost imperceptible even to people with Daredevil's level of senses, so it's sort of like a reverse version of Daredevil's powers. His body's able to draw in every bit of sensory information around him, so Daredevil, other heroes have a hard time tracking his movements during fights or spotting him in crowds. He's also got superhuman strength and speed, but it's not like Quicksilver's speed. His speed only works in short bursts. And he's also an expert fighter, so Daredevil absolutely hates him. He's a relatively new villain. They just introduced him in the 2016 Daredevil Volume 5 run as part of an Inhumans crossover storyline with Daredevil, for everybody wondering what they're going to do with Inhumans in the MCU now. We did see Black Bolt come back during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, so they're canon to the larger multiverse, but they haven't really said what their plan is for Inhumans inside the main MCU universe. Basically, when the story picked up, Muse was killing a bunch of Inhumans and turning their bodies into gruesome art. Daredevil found one of his crime scenes, and he just kept doing this all over the city. While Daredevil is supposed to be fighting Muse during Daredevil Born Again, Kingpin was supposed to have run for mayor on an anti-vigilante campaign, secretly using the police and the press to actually try and get rid of heroes like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Punisher, the other Netflix Defenders characters. A lot of you longtime Daredevil Netflix fans will remember he did this all the time during the Daredevil Netflix series. He would always try to pin murders on Daredevil, discredit him in public. During Daredevil Season 3, he even put Bullseye in the Daredevil costume as part of this whole plot. I think part of the idea is that by the time we get to Spider-Man 4, Kingpin is still mayor of New York City, and just like he did during Daredevil Season 3 with Bullseye, he might hire Spider-Man villains to go after Spider-Man and Daredevil. Inside the MCU, you could actually make Kingpin the person to hire and put together a version of the Sinister Six team too. For a little while, I actually thought that he was going to be the one to actually buy the Avengers Tower. They could always tease that during Daredevil Born Again, but they might save bigger stuff like that for Spider-Man 4, like some stuff they will save for the movies. But either way, it does sound like Kevin Feige, Marvel are finally listening to the fans like, take the path of sanity, bring these characters back. Thank you so much. Let me know in the comments, where do you want to see the other Netflix Defenders characters show up if they're not going to show up in the very first Daredevil Born Again arc? Remember, I think we're supposed to get up to 2 seasons of the show, but it'd be like 36 episodes total spread out over a couple years. So there'll be like a couple more years of brand new Daredevil show. It could go beyond that though. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. I just did that Echo post-credit scene video. Click here to watch that, learn what's going on with Daredevil Born Again, and click here for my new Deadpool 3 teaser trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.